You don't need a viral hit to create consistent cash flow in your label. You need structure, strategy, and a system that prints money on repeat. In this video, I'll show you how smart labels increase cash flow using the right registrations, real leverage, and a 30% rule that keeps your label profitable from day one. Now, I know what it's like to have a label that looks official on paper, but still isn't bringing in consistent money. You file the LLC, you drop the music, maybe you even sign a few artists, depending on the type of label you are, but the cash still doesn't flow. It's still unpredictable. Like that's not your fault. It's your foundation. So this is for the label owner who's tired of waiting on streams, hoping for a viral moment, or praying merch sales pick up. You don't need more hype. You need a financial system that actually pays you. And if you're ready to stop bleeding cash and start building cash, then this is for you. Because once you properly register your assets, you leverage your music the right way, and you apply this 30% formula, you will stop guessing and start collecting. This is how you increase the label cash flow without needing a single hit. Because real labels aren't building on hope, they're built on systems. So when I was dropping beat tapes as instrumental albums, the only money that I saw was from United Masters. I didn't realize I was missing money, until I started to do the research. Honestly, I thought that streams were the only way to get paid until I learned how to multiply my revenue and pull in royalty checks from places I didn't even know owed me. That's when it hit me. Cash flow and revenue are not the same. Revenue is what comes in. Cash flow is what stays in rotation and keeps your label alive. This is the getting it and keeping it scenario. So once I started registering the records the right way, leveraging the assets I already had, and managing my outflow with the 30% rule, everything didn't change. This is money, man. This is in theory. I'm helping you artists and label owners do this right now. So if this sounds foreign, don't trip. I'm about to break it down step by step so you can start stacking actual label money even without a hit. That's the whole point. See what I'm saying? So let's just go through the usuals. We got to register the bag first, because some of you all still don't do this even though you know it. Most of you guys think releasing music is the finish line, but that's the upload. That's it. The real money lives in the registrations. If you're not properly registered, you're invisible to the platforms and systems that are supposed to pay you. Some of you all may know that I did a video years ago saying how to make 64 royalty checks in a year. This is a little bit of that formula right here. Because when I started releasing beat tapes, I was collecting royalties through United Masters, but I was leaving thousands on the table because once I learned about PROs, MLC, HFA, MRI, and Sound Exchange, my royalties multiplied, not because I dropped new music, but because I registered what I already had. And that's when I was like, yo, I didn't even know these people were listening to this stuff over there. So to register your bag and start the cash flow, you want to take care of your publishing side, which is the composition. You want to register your songs with the PRO. That could be ASCAP, BMI, PRS, Gemma, Jazz Rack, wherever you are watching this. Register with the MLC for mechanical royalties. Register with the Harry Fox Agency, HFA, and Music Reports, MRI. If you're over in the UK, use MCPS and PRS to do this for you, all right? So these organizations are going to take care of all of your mechanical royalties and all that good stuff. Number two is you want to take care of the master side, your sound recording. You want to register your masters with Sound Exchange to collect non-interactive digital performance royalties. All right. If you're in the UK, that's PPL for you. All right. This is going to take care of stuff like Sirius XM in America and Pandora and stuff like that. All right. Now, you want to copyright your records and your composition. File your sound recordings, and we call them musical works in the US, at the Copyright Office, because later, as you grow, you're going to need to leverage that ownership, because that's going to give you more cash. That's going to give you cash flow immediately. It's almost like buying a house and there's cash already in the house. To not go advanced, this is called intrinsic value. You've got value already built into the music, but I don't want to go on a tangent. Once everything is registered, your music becomes an asset that pays you automatically. Even if you only have 1,000 plays, the difference between registered and unregistered is the difference between passive money and no money. You see what I'm saying? You got to take care of that first. And if you're still thinking I'll do this once I blow up, you've got it backwards. Blow ups pay more when you're already registered. But even without one, registration makes your current catalog start paying right now. So for instance, I keep mentioning Baby Rose. I work with her. She got signed to a record deal. Her second project made the independent project we work on produce royalties, and they're still producing royalties. So when your blow up is getting ready to happen, you want to make sure that all the other stuff is registered. So when people start doing their due diligence and the Spotify algorithm starts working and meshing with the old stuff, you're now cranking in money, not even doing nothing, while the new stuff is taking off. So let's just say you independently work with an act. This is an independent project they put out. The streets loved it. They get signed to a label. The label takes over and sends the next project to the moon, but the streets still love the original project. That one still makes money, and we're making money. This is how you get the bag. You see what I'm saying? Now we got to leverage the catalog. Most of you guys think once the music is out, registered, the money will just flow in, but registration just makes you eligible. It doesn't make you profitable. Profit comes from leverage. If you're not positioning your catalog with intent, you're sitting on gold and treating it like gravel. I used to think uploading music was the finish line, just like us all. But once I had everything registered, I saw there was still a gap. The breakthrough happened when I asked, why would someone pay, listen to this, why would someone pay $20, $50, or $100 for this, for the music? The answer was leverage, and not more content, but more meaning. Personally, I did this by uploading those beat tapes that I was making to Pond 5 for MicroSync. I did that was my first form of leverage. I didn't know it at the time, but it was. So you want to use one of these 4 types of leverage to transform your catalog into cash flowing products. Okay? Functional leverage. You turn the beat tape into an intro, MicroSync ready background music opportunity, right? Status leverage. You want to drop some limited edition products that acknowledge that this fan was here first. You got to do that. Educational leverage. You want to teach fans, you know what I'm saying, how the project was made. And then you want to give them some emotional leverage at the same time. You want to package the music with a narrative or a mission that causes people to connect to you a little bit better, and it gives them a little bit more value. You know what I'm saying? Sentimental value. So pick one and build your product, rollout, or experience around it. You need those 4. Once you stop treating your music like a song and start treating it like a lever, you'll see real value rise. Fans don't just buy sound, they buy status, story, identity, and utility. This is how you raise your prices without making new music. I know it's a lot, it's a whole method to that. But if you still think that you need to release something new to make you money, you don't. You need to reframe what you've already created so it speaks louder and sells better. That's why a lot of you all don't make no money. You don't know how to talk to nobody. You don't know how to sell nothing. You don't know how to leverage nothing. But it's okay, I got you. So far, we've covered how to register your catalog for royalty income and how to leverage your music into high value products. But this next part is where most labels lose the bag. It is, and it's sad. So a side note is, if you need a strong business foundation to run your label with funding, check out my 60-day record label system complete with my vetted funding partners to help you finance some of the moves that you're about to make, okay? Now, let's not let you lose the bag. You want to use this 30% cash flow formula that I was talking about earlier to make all of this work. Most label owners confuse revenue with profit. They see money coming in from streams, merch, and shows, but it's all going right back out, and they have no cash flow strategy, just reaction, bills, and burnout. And when I started getting checks, I thought I was up, like it was, it's going down. Well, it was going up, until I realized I was leaking money fast. It wasn't about making more, it was about managing what I had better. Once I applied this 30% formula, I finally saw the money stay in the business. So here's how it's going to work. Here's the 30% cash flow formula that keeps your label lean, healthy, and profitable. Listen closely. 30% or less of the revenue that comes in is going to go to your overhead. You want to keep, if you can keep this down to 10%, we're winning, but don't exceed 30%. All right. That's going to go to overhead. That's your operations, your services, your subscriptions, your team expenses, all of that. 30% or less is used in credit usage. This is not your revenue, but this is your leverage, your cash leverage that I talk about in the Music Money Makers community. Your 30% credit usage is all you're going to use to leverage the label. All right. That's label credit cards, that's PayPal loans, that's short-term loans. You never want to exceed that ratio. 30% or less goes to salary payouts. Pay yourself or your artist after overhead and debt. And then 30% or more stays in profit. This is your growth fund. Use it to reinvest, not react. The 30% in credit is not from your revenue. That's 30% leverage. That's a different conversation for another day, but I'm just saying to help You not go overboard. That's what it is. So even if you're only making $1,000 a month, this formula builds discipline, and discipline builds profit. Once you follow this, you're not just surviving, you're stacking. You stop living project to project and start building a label that prints money sustainably. It turns your revenue into resources and your resources into real freedom. Okay? It just is what it is. If you still think more money will fix your label problems, it won't unless you have a plan for how to keep it. This formula is how you protect your bag even before you secure it. You got to be disciplined. That's why you can go off on Spotify, make 10 racks and blow it all. So now write this down and ask yourself this and be honest with your answers. Have I registered every song, master, and composition I release? Because we need assets and we need royalty revenue. Number 2, how am I leveraging my catalog? Its functionality, its status, its emotional utility. Am I doing that? Or am I just putting it up for streaming? Because if I am, we got a revenue problem, okay? And then number 3, am I actually keeping profit or just watching my money pass through my label? Because if that is the case, we're broke even if we're making $10,000 a month. If money comes in, 10,000 comes in and 10,000 goes out, we're still at ground zero. So the goal isn't just to make money, it's to keep money in motion on purpose. Because the real question isn't, should I do this? It's how much longer can I afford not to? Now, this was some pretty heavy stuff. And if you need help with building this entire system, join the Music Money Makers community. We meet every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so I can break this stuff down step by step for you. Click the link below to join. And we have masterclasses that have already covered this stuff. It's a serious, I mean, look, you got in this game to make some money. If you're trying to make some money, you got to go to work, man. If you ain't trying to work, then what's the point? You just sitting here watching my videos, getting this information, and you're going to go back, twiddle your thumbs in your home studio and say it's too much for me. I don't really want it that bad. And you're going to stay broke. But the truth is, it's not your music, your grind, or even your fan base that's the real issue. It's the voice in your head saying, what if this still doesn't work? It ain't going to work because you don't want to work. But you drop music. Maybe you even made a little money, but deep down, you're still unsure about your system. That's why, because you ain't got one. And that's what's killing your cash flow, because you don't have a system. However, this does work, and I'm using it, and others are too. And listen, it doesn't matter if you're earning 500K or 5K. These moves will help you be profitable at every level. So don't wait for perfect conditions. Start building like this is already your career. Because if you don't treat it like a business now, you'll be stuck in hobby mode forever. And I can't tell you, 80% of all creators are stuck in hobby mode. And that might be you, because 80% is large. And if it is, it's cool. You just ain't fit for the 20% or higher. But if you've been struggling with getting paid from all the music you've already released, turning your catalog into something fans actually want to buy, or just keeping money in your label instead of watching it vanish, well, let me say this. Now you have the play. You got the systems, you got the, I hope you have the mindset and the method to stop the leaks and build real cash flow. You're not just a label owner, you're a music entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs don't wait for a hit. They build systems that hit regardless, by themselves, automatically, intentionally, on point. Music Money Makers, if you make music, you should always make money. Log on to musicmoneymakeover.com, grab the 60-day record label system complete with my funding partners, join the Music Money Makers community, grab the free stuff, and watch this next video right over here to save your career. And I'll see you next time. Peace.